captured in the Operation Recover All Loot Preparatory Team's report. But then again, a man who knows and worked as a member of this oral preparatory team and knows the over 2,000 cases captured in their report, Martin Kpebu, is a private legal practitioner. He's joining us, a member of the oral preparatory team that has rounded up his work. They are done with their work. The Attorney General has that sole responsibility of now executing in the details of the said oral report. Counsel, good evening. Thank you for joining us. I mean, big deal, the fight against corruption. Going into the election, you served on this oral preparatory team. You've done your work. What's your own assessment of the pace of work so far on the report that you submitted? How does it strike you?
I must say that when it comes to progress of work, it's extremely difficult to judge, you see, because what's happening is that, there's a new government and they just took over. Everybody needed to settle. So I would say that, and you see, we handed over our report to the president, and the president handed over same to the Attorney General on Monday, is it 10th or 11th of February? Yeah, it was a Monday, right? So from that time to now, it hasn't been that much time. And investigations take time, right? So it's extremely difficult to pass judgment at this stage. So I would say that let's give a bit more time so that we will then be in a better position to, pass judgment. Of course, we will not forget that the Attorney General has promised that the last one, actually he said the last, I hope I haven't mixed them up. He said the last update was a thriller in Manila, and that from there we'll be going to Rumble in the Jungle, right? So it's something that we are all looking forward to, right? So that we shouldn't run ahead of the Attorney General. That's very important. I know people are very expectant, and the Attorney General himself knows. He himself said it, that he had monitored social media and he had seen how citizens had become very expectant of the oral, project, right? And so they were expecting oral to deliver results. So it was giving extreme pressure, etc. So for the man in the saddle himself to tell you that he's well aware of the enormous pressure and the expectations and etc., then I would take it that he's doing his best. Yes, I would say so. I'm willing to, grant him the benefit of the doubt.
Right, and you're right about the reference that you gave, and that's a video we just played, that the Attorney General said that if all what we've been hearing is to be described as a thriller in Manila, and you didn't have this Kwabena Dubois case captured in oral. It was outside of the oral cases. But then again, he says there's a lot that's been happening. What we should be expecting in the coming days, hopefully with the updates tomorrow, setting the pace, would be Rumble in the Jungle. I mean, does that expression influence your expectation ahead of tomorrow, that update of the oral investigations?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. Like Ali would say, the killer and the thriller and the chiller. Because today we are doing all Ali, right? He said the killer and the thriller and the chiller. So tomorrow, so it would be the killer and the thriller and the chiller. Of course, so he'll be giving us the right update. And, it promises to be, very fulfilling, it will live up to the billing. Yeah, you can trust that Dr. Ayine and his deputies, Remsai, will do the needful. They would not do so much hype if they didn't intend to bring a lot of information. And we all know how the Dubois case, Ayine gave a lot of information, that even to the extent that critics will say it was too much. But I see that it did a lot because it answered a lot of the questions, and so Anytime you hear Ayene is going to hold a press conference, then you know that you would have a lot of information. And that's good because, look, we've debunked that myth that an investigator can give updates. I like to reference, for football fans, I like to give this recent example so that it can, resonate with football fans. And I know a lot of Ghanaians are football fans. You see the EPL, when Liverpool were celebrating their recent win of the EPL, okay, the cup, somebody drove into the crowd and injured a lot. Quite a number of people, I should say. When the Merseyside police came to give their update, they said, yes, look, they came to give the public as much information as they could and said, based on what they knew at that time, the following were the charges. And they told us what they were. Then said, but investigations are ongoing, and so they would keep an eye on the charges. If later investigations reveal that those charges were not appropriate, they would change same. Please, this Merseyside police, that's the Liverpool, let me call it, the incident that happened. That is what the police in England said. Based on what has happened now, these are the possible charges. Going forward, if anything changes, we would change the charges. But here we were, the last I really gave us a lot of information. Critics who were just bent on saying something negative kept saying, no. How do you do that? Well, that's not how it's done. It's false. So I've given you a very recent example. One that I believe because a lot of people follow the EPL, they will be able to remember it. Or if they don't remember, they can Google it and see that police would always give updates, and as and when the facts change, they will change the charges. There's nothing wrong. So we are expectant. We are expecting Dr. Ayene tomorrow to give us a killer, a thriller, and a chiller. Those are Muhammad Ali's words. Yes.
Well, that's Rumble in the Jungle. You say it's a killer, chiller, what? Council?
A thriller and a chiller. That's what Muhammad Ali used to describe what was going to happen with the thriller in Manila.
I do appreciate your time. Martin Kpebu is a private legal practitioner. He is a member of the Operation Recover All Loot preparatory team. They've done their work now. And tomorrow, as we've indicated to you, the Attorney General, as advertised, will be giving a major address of the investigations into the oral report so far, and which cases that they have been able to develop enough evidence and worth prosecuting. So stay with us. That press conference, crucial one by the Attorney General, is going to be live on TV3 and also on 3FM 92.7 and across all Media Journal platforms. So stay with us tomorrow. We'll bring you that one. But coming up next here on Ghana Tonight, the President, John Dramani Mahama's intervention has saved over 60 radio stations, including Asase Radio, Want to Me, and Happy FM, from being shut down over regulatory infractions. The Ghana Independent Broadcast Association president is going to be joining us to have a conversation on this. But just for the uninitiated, government has announced a 30-day window for defaulting radio stations to regularize their operations or face sanctions following sweeping regulatory breaches in the FM broadcasting sector. The 30-day ultimatum follows President John Dramani Mahama's directive, which has been described as some clemency and intervention to the Minister for Communication, Digital Technology and Innovation, Samuel Nate-George, to work with the National Communication Authority to immediately restore the broadcasting of some 64 radio stations that were hitherto shut down due to regulatory breaches. I want to also hear from the Communications Minister, Samuel Nate-George. In Parliament today, he gave details of this 64. We're not going to play all, but he was giving updates to Parliament on the reason for this shutdown and why this was necessary, and the President's intervention, which has led to this 30-day grace period. Take a look.
Pandai Star Radio, operating in Pandai 107.3 FM. Ebiamo FM, operating in Jomoro on 100.5 FM. They've all been shut down. Table 2, FM stations that were issued revocation notices. Act Forum Ghana Limited, operating in Akpafumimpiasem 88.1 FM. Chinias Empire Limited, operating in Tumu 96.3 FM. Confidence Commodities, operating in Swaman DSO 90.7. F5 Eagles Company, operating in Ajuafua 93.7. Neat FM Limited, operating in Tamale 105.3 FM. Primary Stars Limited, operating in Banda 102.5 FM. Subampa Community Radio in Barakesi 96.7 FM. Wasaman FM in Atieku on 101.9 FM. Mr. Speaker, number 9, Wuntumi Multimedia Company Limited. Wuntumi Multimedia Company Limited, operating in Takrady on 101.3 FM. Number 10, Wuntumi Multimedia Company Limited, operating in Accra on 95.9 FM. Jimbali Community Association in Jimbali 95.9, and Resurrection Television in Takrady 99.3. Table 3, Chameleon Communication in Wa 91.1. Chaka Multimedia in Jasikan 88.7. Clickshot Multimedia in Shama 89.9. Free Minds in Tema 104.5. Asasi Broadcasting Company Limited in Accra on 99.5 FM. Dynamic Chapters Limited in Wenchi on 95.7. Global Media Alliance in Accra on 98.9. God Steve Media Association in Atimpoku on 87.7. Rejoice FM in Mim on 101.7. Sankofa in Takrady on 98.7. and Sweet FM in Chifopraso on 106.5. Mr. Speaker, our goal is not punishment, but accountability, order, and the responsible stewardship of a public critical resource. This is not routine housekeeping. This is a declaration against impunity, abuse, and inertia.
Well, there's been a number of reactions to this as well, and in Parliament, Alexander Afenyomarkin, the Minority Leader, raised questions about this, and then also the Majority Leader, Mama Yarga, also pointed to letters to some of the radio stations that were shut down as far back as 2022, highlighting their regulatory breaches, and that's as far back as 2022 up until now that this decision had been taken. Take a look.
I would want the NCA and the ministry to be strongly guided by Article 296 of the 1992 Constitution. A regulation cannot overreach and override an express constitutional provision. In the list, the regulation is to guide, but not to impede and stampede the process. What happened today, where Asasi Radio was shut down, Wuntumi FM was denied the opportunity to broadcast, Happy FM denied the opportunity to broadcast. Mr. Speaker, must not ever happen again. Mr. President, clemency is a belated thing. It's because of the public backlash.
For his part, Majority Leader Mahama Yariga, while urging strict enforcement of media laws, encouraged stations to meet their regulation.
So there was a response of this position as espoused by the Minority Leader, Alexander Afenyomarkin, by the Majority Leader, Mama Yariga, who indicated that some of these radio stations that were shut down were written to by the NCA as far back as 2022, highlighting their regulatory fractions at the time. Take a look.
Just reading those letters. Mr. Speaker, on the 22nd of February 2023, there was a letter addressed to the Managing Director, Wuntumi Multimedia Company Limited, Kumasi. Dear Sir, violation of conditions of authorization. We refer to the inspection conducted at the FM broadcasting premises of Wuntumi Multimedia Company Limited at Kokomlemle, Accra, in the Greater Accra region on 14th of June 2022. The inspection revealed the following lapses in the setup and operations of Wuntumi Multimedia Company Limited. 1. The station's transmission system was located at Accra Newtown instead of Ajangote or within a 5-kilometer radius from Ajangote as required by condition 3 of your authorization dated 26 October 2021. This is causing interference to stations using neighboring frequencies. 2. There was no fire certificate from the Ghana National Fire Service. No fire certificate. 3. There was no permit from the Environmental Protection Agency approving the installation of the mast. Wuntumi Multimedia Company Limited is hereby directed to rectify the above anomalies within 90 days from the date of this letter, that is by 21st May 2023, and invite the National Communication Authority for a second inspection. Please be informed that the cost of the second inspection amounts to 2,000 Ghana cedis and shall be borne by the Wuntumi Multimedia Company. Please take note that the issuance of a test transmission authorization for Wuntumi Multimedia Company Limited to commence operating its FM broadcasting station in Accra is pending compliance with the above directives.
So that's the Majority Leader Mama Yariga there. Let's go on to the Zoom right now. Cecil Sunkwamels is the president of the Ghana Independent Broadcasters Association, GIBA. He's joining us on Zoom.